That's nothing but a problem machine, and that does the opposite of what you expected it to. Welcome back to the channel, dudettes and dudes. It's late at night. I'm not even going to show you the clock. I shouldn't even be in the shop, but a couple things I want to get done. It's a Saturday night and I want to have a productive Sunday afternoon, and so I'm prepping for that. We went parts hunting today for the 2000 K2500. We've made some upgrades. I don't know if it was in the original video or not, but we did go ahead and get the tires swapped over to aluminum wheels that we had, and then we've got our center caps on this side. I still have to put them on the other side, but I wanted to see how it looked. Really, the truck looks much nicer. Today we went to the junkyard, well, the local neighborly junkyard, and we sourced a bumper. Now it doesn't look like much right now, but we may or may not replace this trim. You can get that without too many dollars spent, and more than likely the black air dam that's kind of coming off down on that end anyway is just gonna get deleted anyway. But we'll shine that up. It's at least straight. And then we also got, because we've got a bent bracket here, frame bracket, and the side bracket on this end was bent. And then we also noticed that the capture nut came loose on this bracket, and it looks maybe just a tad bent. So there's Mackie, shop dog. Jalen's getting home late. So we got all the bracketries. Look at doggy. Got all new bracketries, and we popped the tow hooks off as well. Additionally, this little hokey setup here, we've got a new factory air box here because the clip has broken off, and then we're going to eliminate this nonsense here and go back with the factory box. Now this one has a couple holes drilled in it, so we got to get a new cover, but that tube and another tube we got as well. So that was our score. Oh, and then we got the filler panel between the grill and the bumper, and apologize, I already got it scuffed, and its first coat of primer is going on. So that's what we did today, or I did today. Jalen worked at the job that pays him today, and right now we're at kind of at this stage. Looks pretty good, but we have to attach our filler panel to the bottom of the grill before we can, you know, get too crazy about assembly. And then we're gonna have to go find our old grill. We got to pop our screw captures out of that one and put them in this one, and we're probably just going to shine up our old emblem and put it in here because it doesn't look too bad. That's how that's going to go. Oh yeah, we got Jalen bought fancy new lenses for the front end. He bought the LED headlights, and I think we even have,
I got LED prints
yeah, I think we even have these. If
yes.
not, we'll take the old ones out and polish them up, but I think we have those as well. So stick with us. Mackie's gonna, you know, be around. It's late, buddy, but yeah, we'll see you in the morning. We got to go get some sleep, and then tomorrow afternoon we're just gonna hammer on this rig. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share our stuff. We'll see you in the morning. Next day alert. Hey, Irish parts store folks, I don't know how good they are in your neck of the prairie, but we got some good ones here. So they went, while we were at church, they went and picked up the passenger mirror on this side. We need that, and a new gas tank sitting right there. So we've got all the parts we need. I came in, we sanded this down very lightly with some 600 grit, hit it with the wax and grease remover, and we're gonna come over and in just a few minutes let that air out just a little bit, and then we've got some Duplicolor Universal White is what we're gonna spray on this bad ride, you got to attach it to the bottom of the grill with the plastic body fastener thingamajiggers, and put the grill all the way on before you can put the bumper and that kind of stuff on. And then we went ahead and pulled our nasty old bumper. We're going to try to carefully remove our screw pockets from that, install them into here, and then we'll do something with the emblem. Jalen was thinking maybe painting it white. We're going to get it out of there though. We might just kind of shine it up, clean it up pretty decent, and just throw it on, because we really, today we want this thing done and we aren't going to wait for another emblem. Plus they're like 50 bucks, so you know, you gotta start to try and save some money here and there. By the way, on the fuel tank, this is the 34 gallon model. It's got a couple dings in it, but it's gonna be all right. The Rock Hard Auto had them for like 110 bucks, and I thought for sure that was the route we were gonna go until they add on shipping and taxes. Just so happens Irish had one in stock about 20 miles away for basically the same price, so we can get it on a Sunday, and they went and picked it up and dropped it off for us. So liking the Irish folks today. Hey, St. Patty's Day, happy St. Patrick's Day. That's where we're at. Hopefully this video gets out a little closer to the actual day than, you know, some of our ones recently have. But happy St. Patrick's Day either way. Let's get to work. Yeah, we're gonna tackle the hard stuff first, like we always do. We're gonna crawl under here, get after this fuel tank, get it swapped out. It's not gonna be as hard with the service bed on here because things are a lot easier to get to, guys and gals, than they would be on a regular pickup truck. So there's all of our fuel line connections, plug-ins, all the doohickeys and things and such. And it looks like, yeah, they don't even have, look at right there, they don't even have the current pump assembly, you know, sitting correctly and flush in the tank. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, good thing we're changing all this out and doing, you know, checking stuff over on this truck. Well, we got updates. We haven't made a ton of progress, but you know, when we say we need to change the fuel tank, this is why we needed to change the fuel tank. I don't know what they did with this, and we'll get it out of the can here, but look, it's just completely collapsed. The cinder, it's been bowed so much and bent so much down here that the cinder started to pop out and it was releasing vapor there. So, you know, I don't want anybody in this, let alone my son. So we're gonna get this out of the tray and we'll show you a good roundabout picture, but it's gonna get replaced with that nice shiny gray one. So life is gonna be good, but yeah, that's bad. Update, and even look, I mean, just look height wise, dudes and dudettes, that's how much this thing got crushed. And really bad safety issue. Just, I'm surprised it wasn't leaking, number one. And then this thing was a service truck. This came from like a shop where they build stuff out of metal, and there's sparks and there's welding and flames and sparks and stuff. And golly, there obviously was a liquid leaking from time to time and vapor all the time. So anyway, we will get this one in. It's ready to rock. And then we'll transfer the fuel from this one to that one, and life will be good again. Final gas tank update. We had to get new strap bolts. They have those at the Irish parts store. So that was handy on a Sunday. So it's all in, strapped up. Everything's happy. And I also want to do an impromptu, you know, tool review. This is the Harbor Freight liquid transfer pump. It's battery operated. The number is 63847. This guy, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a must-have in any small shop or garage. It pumps gasoline, oil, water, whatever. We've used it a couple times now on gas tank swaps, And I'm telling you what, it is great. No siphoning, no nothing. I'm gonna put you on a little tripod action here, and actually maybe I'll just put you on the truck. But it is literally as simple as this. It's powered with 2 D-size batteries. And so here's the suction side. It does have some limitations. This is, you know, the suction side. So you got to get into your container. And then this is all you have, maybe 2 feet of hose, but it will reach most gas fillers. So we're just going to put the hose up there, and then there's a little on-off button right on top. It's quiet. It primes super fast. We're pumping. I don't know what the GPMs is. It says over 6 quarts a minute. I would say even uphill here, we're probably doing almost a gallon a minute. I've got maybe 8 to 10 gallons of fuel left in this tank. So I'm gonna pump it all into the new tank. But yeah, the liquid transfer pump, Harbor Freight number 63847. Must have, dudes and dudettes. Get one for your garage or small shop. The only thing I make sure I do is when I'm not using it, I take the batteries out of it so they don't, you know, do that whole seepage thing and ruin the inside, because it's basically like the body of it is like a flashlight from 1982. So, you know, it's not the most robust build, but so far it's worked flawlessly. And then the other thing I do is when I am done with it, I make sure that all the gas or everything I'm done pumping is out of it. And then if it's gas, I'll leave it out and let it air dry a day or 2 before I put it away. But it's been flawless. I highly recommend it. More updates. It's starting to get a little late. We're winding down, but Jalen's doing the build out on the grill. We got new side reflectors, the LED headlights. Those have been in the truck for a little while. We've got clear lens turn signals here. We did get some LED bulbs, but they don't fit down into these sockets far enough to twist in and lock in. So we're kind of, you know, researching that, and we'll probably have to get some different ones. But he's working on the emblem. We're either gonna paint this or dress it up, or we'll have to order one maybe down the road. But that's the grill the bumper's on. Looks pretty good, nice and straight. He's back there, I think, doing tow hooks. We got the tow hooks, and he's painting those black. For right now, though, I want to talk a little bit, or rant, I guess, about these, you know, fly-by-night power, alleged power adders. So there's 2 of them on this truck. For some reason, we have a power aid, not the drink, but we got the red flavor here. We've got a spacer here. Okay, fine. But what does the spacer end up doing? This air cleaner assembly or air box assembly is supposed to have a metal bracket here that clips over this lip. Well, it has broken off in part because this spacer lifts everything up here, and this can no longer sit on the intake where it's supposed to sit. So that puts extra pressure on the front edge of this, and that broke that off. So you have dirty air coming in there. And then this thing just dangling back here, I just tightened this up the other day. It came apart again. You got dirty air coming in there. And then you have to stretch your little engine breather tube from the valve cover up. It sometimes stays and sometimes doesn't come off. So really, for a little chunk of aluminum that isn't going to do a darn thing, folks, you've created at least three different problems by putting this Chinese piece of junk on your truck. Now, number 2, we've got this guy over here, and I did replace on this because we had to drive it around just a little bit, and the first one looked like a dirt clod on the end of this race elbow or whatever it is. Somebody thought, let's put this fancy elbow and a fancy air cleaner on here. Well, it kind of goes against logic, folks. You got to think about things just a little bit. Count to 10, count to 20 if you can do it without taking your shoes and socks off, and just think. Okay, basics of engines. cold air is more dense. That's what we're trying to do. We want the coolest air possible going into our engine so that our engine can create the best power most efficiently. The stock configuration of this, and I have one laying around here because that's what we're going back to, pulls air right through this hole here in the fender. That fender is open to the front of the truck where air can come through the grill, around the headlight, around the battery, through the radiator, all these little spaces up here, this big hole right down here, and it can get cold air into the airbox, into the engine. For some reason, somebody took that out and they put this air filter right here, which is now, 18 inches from the exhaust manifold. When you close the hood on this bad ride, you're taking in engine compartment temperature air. So this fancy power adder elbow and air filter, in the end, I guarantee you, is making this truck less efficient. It's getting poor gas mileage, and it's making less power. It's impossible to make more power with it set up in this configuration. So what are we going to do about it? We're going back to stock. Now, there is a chance and a likelihood that since we did pay money for this, we will use this filter inside the stock filter box until it gets dirty. But it is one of those serviceable ones. But when this gets dirty to the point where it needs to go, it's getting tossed, and we'll put the stock filter back in there. The stock filters for this style air cleaner box are legit. And then we're going to take the spacer out. We're going to get everything lowered back down. We've got new piece of this, new piece of this, new elbow, new airbox. Our airbox lid does have some holes in it, so we'll have to replace it, but it's what we had access to. And then it should start, it should idle better, it should run better, and then we'll get back to good miles per gallon and better power and better reliability. Moral of the story, as I turn off my rant, don't buy this cheap junk you see on TV or it flashes up on your phone or whatever it is. It just ain't worth it. Just think about it. Think about it before you start clicking and getting your credit card all happy and everything else, because that's nothing but a problem machine, and that does the opposite of what you expected it to. Okay, that's much better. So took a little more work than I anticipated. The stud for the back here was also longer. There's a longer bolt and a spacer for this throttle linkages, and a couple of other little things that we had to work around. And then we had to find metric, hardware to deal with it. But it's done. And here's what I'm talking about. I think even tomorrow, even though this one fits here okay, I think tomorrow we're just going to get a factory element for this box, just because I want it that way. But here, cold air through this gap in the fender panel here, directly into here. There's a lid on here, directly into the air filter, through the air temp sensor, through the mass airflow sensor, and into your engine. Cold air, as cold as you can possibly get it in this environment, right? So this is going to be much more efficient and much more powerful of a setup. And speaking of this, I mean, you want to talk about how do you make horsepower? Do you make it with valve changes and head changes and porting and boring of cylinders and adding cubic inches and compressing air with turbos and superchargers and that kind of stuff? Oh, no, you don't do that. If you want to make real horsepower, Powerade horsepower, you just cut some big old threads in a hunk of anodized aluminum, and you say, put this between your throttle body and intake, and you're going to have horsepowers, and you're going to have torques, and you're going to have mileages. That's a joke, folks. Stop doing this. Stop buying this stuff. It ain't real. It's a joke. Anyway, it's together. Let's go ahead, before we put the lid on the filter box over here. We probably should make sure everything still runs. This is super solid, no more wiggly here, no more wiggly here. Everything fits like it should. We're gonna pull clean, cool air from the outside of the engine compartment. We're back on track with this thing running and breathing and making power like it was supposed to when it was made. It's the next day, but this isn't a next day alert because I forgot to do an outro. So we're just gonna pretend it's super late at night, and this is what we got done today, everybody. The gasket for the exhaust was wrong, so we'll do that tomorrow today. We have 2 new mirrors. They look good, and we're very affordable through the Irish parts store. We've got our new used front bumper on, nice and pretty all the way straight. We're waiting on some LED bulbs, and Jalen's messing around with the Chevy emblem in the grill, so the grill's not on yet, but we're gaining on the front end of this thing. We put all of the stock air intake system back on, and we'll get a filter for that and a new cover, but it's running fine. It's going to be running better than it was. And then the big job for, this video was a brand new shiny gray painted 34-gallon fuel tank. Fuel pump works, fuel sender works, so we're tickled there. So in the next video, which I'm going to start shooting as soon as we end this little clip, we've got door hinge pins and roller pins for both sides, and then we're gonna get the correct exhaust gasket and double those up and try to seal that second exhaust leak up. And I think, maybe a couple little things, but we're basically now, we were rushing to get this grill, and now we're kind of dragging to make sure that, it's got LED lights on it. Anywho, we're getting really close. This thing will have our license plates on it and our insurance on it and be part of our fleet by the end of this week. So thanks for watching. Stick around for the next segment. The door hinge pins and roller pins on these OBS bodied Chevy and GM trucks. It's kind of a job, but it really isn't that bad. We'll walk you through it and show you how it's done. Appreciate every single one of you watching this one. Watch that one next. Catch you on the next video.